when you're out here fighting and things get tough and hard and rough, you don't know where you're going or what's going to happen to you. There's a lot of things that you can do in your life. But there's one thing that you can never, ever do, and that's quit. Because once you quit, it's over. You have no more chances. It's over. I was born in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
In Arbor, Michigan?
Ann Arbor, Michigan. University of Michigan.
Okay.
Michigan Wolverine.
Ah, man, that's cool. That's cool. So, how long have you been in Georgia?
Since 1991. Now, all my family.
That's like 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
All my family is from Georgia. My dad was in the Army. Got stationed up in Michigan, and so I was born up there. But I would spend the summers down here and go to school up there.
Okay. Okay. So, could you tell me a little about your childhood and coming up?
Well, I was raised. I was fortunate enough to have two parents in the house. Dad was very strict. You know, we went to church. Had curfew. Had to be in by when the lights. By the time night lights came on. Yeah. You know, all my friends had to stay out. But Dad, he was since he was in the Army. You know, he was very regimented and disciplined. So he taught me how to do a balance. Taught me how to cut grass and all those type of things. And then on the other hand, Mother, she taught me how to cook, clean, wash, iron, and she told me that she did that so that I would never have to depend on anybody else to do it for me.
Tell me tough time.
Well, I had an older brother and a younger sister. My brother died when he was 11. I was 8. He had leukemia. That was it was tough for me because I didn't understand. And back then, this was in 1966, nobody counseled us, nobody talked to us. And so it was like, I was going to school and kids were asking me, well, how do you look in the casket and all this and that and this. And I was embarrassed to talk about it, and I don't know why, but nobody talked us through it. So that was the beginning of tough times. And then a little bit later, mom got sick and she had meningitis, and she was in and out of the hospital, in and out of the hospital, in and out of the hospital. And my sister was 5 years younger than me, and I was the oldest. So there was a lot of things that I didn't get to do because Daddy was working, and then when he got off work, he had to go to the hospital to see Mom, and I had to take care of my little sister. It's just living, living in a tent. I'm living in a tent right now, and no electricity, no hot water. You gotta find places to use the bathroom. And when you've come from a different spot, living in a house and those type of things, having a car, it gets a little difficult,
Let me ask you this: how long have you been living in a tent?
About 11 months. No, about 13 months now. 'Cause I think I got out here last February.
Last February.
And it's funny because I came down here to visit. I came to visit some friends and kind of got stuck down here, And my friend, he had a tent, and so I went down there and stayed with him. And he got locked up, and I kind of gave me a chance to do a little thinking. So I said, I need to get my own, get my own tent. So got my own tent, and things started to. That's how I've always been independent.
Talk about a tough day again.
Well, a tough day is not having any money, not having any food, not knowing where you're going to get food, not knowing where you're going to get money, knowing where you might be able to sleep at. There was a time when I didn't have a tent.
Let me ask you this: how was the winter for you?
Ooh.
When it was 15 degrees outside.
Brutal. Now there were some days when like Gateway, the shelters would come and take you to warming centers, but most of the time they didn't. So inside that tent, you had to find a way to stay warm.
Had to get blankets and stuff
that. People would, they come and give us blankets and emergency blankets, the foil kind, and then you find ways to live, like if you were living out in the woods. People don't know that hand sanitizer is flammable. You get your pot or a tin can, pour you some hand sanitizer in there and light it, and you got a fire. And that's how
Hand sanitizer.
and that's how we stayed warm.
And you can make a fire out of hand sanitizer. Just
right.
light it up.
That's all you got to do. Put a hand sanitizer in the pot, put a match to it, and you got a fire that burns.
Oh my goodness.
And that's how we stayed warm.
That's a blessing, man. That's a blessing.
And I didn't know that. And somebody, this young, well, she wasn't a young lady, but she was about 60, and she told me. She says, well, you know, you can use this, and you can use it. She told me that you use chapstick. There was something else that she told me, but I can't remember. And I'm like, what? Really?
So you done learned so much.
Oh yeah.
You know, like you say, you know how to survive, but you know
yeah.
what? A lot of us in this world, a lot of people have been put in a position, and if something ever happened, they wouldn't know how to survive.
Right.
So many people, they commit suicide.
Oh,
they
man.
jump off of bridges every day because they can't figure out a way to survive. And I'm thankful for you, man, because when I see you do your spirit, I always lift it. And I seen you act before. You're an actor. You know what I'm saying? And you went to school, you graduated, you got education.
Yes.
But what you're telling us and you're showing us is anybody can fall on hard times.
Anybody, it doesn't discriminate who you are, what color you are, or anything like that. You can fall, you can have the best home, the most money, you can still fall flat on your face. It doesn't discriminate.
They don't understand. They don't understand. They don't understand. Every time they see me, they say, hey, know where you been. But many people stressing, trying to figure out something. I done been through a lot, I'm talking pain, it's suffering. I spent a long, long time on this road trying